I decided to run for Congress because now more than ever, we need strong leaders to address the serious challenges we face as a nation. Leaders who will put progress over partisanship, not politicians who are more concerned with political gain instead of doing what's best for the country. I've spent the past year traveling up and down the state, talking to Delawareans about the challenges they are facing during these difficult times. People are struggling. Thousands of our neighbors have lost their jobs. More Americans than ever have been out of work for 6 months or longer. Last year, 6,000 Delaware families faced foreclosure on their homes. In these difficult times, when the leaders of business and commerce and those in Washington have let us down, we need someone who will be on our side, someone we can trust to do the right thing. Delawareans are frustrated with what's going on in Washington. We're tired of the constant fighting and pandering. My opponent wants to go to Washington, but he doesn't have any new ideas to fix the problems we're facing. That's not the answer we need. We need leaders with real ideas about how to create jobs, grow our economy, and deal with the challenges ordinary families face every day trying to make ends meet. I understand what they're going through because it's part of my life experience. I grew up in a very large family with 8 brothers and sisters in a small house not very far from here in Claymont. We didn't have a lot as kids, but we had everything we needed. My parents, who are here tonight, were both teachers, and they taught us that the most important thing that you can do in life was to help other people. My parents believed in the opportunities that education and this great country offered to everyone, no matter where you come from. You didn't have to live in a big house to have big dreams. But today, too many of us go to sleep worrying about how we're going to pay the mortgage, take our children to the doctor, or save for retirement. I understand the struggles that so many of us are going through because they hit home with me. It's where I come from. As Congressman, I intend to represent the people of Delaware by putting progress over partisanship. I will be an independent voice working to create jobs, help small businesses grow, and strengthen our economy. That's what I'll do as a member of Congress, and that's what we need to get our state and our nation back on track.
Because I am on your side. Billionaires got bailouts, and we, you and I, got the bill. The bill in the form of $3.5 trillion worth of new debt just in the last 20 months. Debt destroys jobs. Debt destroys jobs because employers know that the bill is coming due for that debt in the form of higher interest rates, higher costs, and higher taxes. And they're afraid to hire. They're afraid to expand. But there is good news. There is life after debt. Life after debt, D-E-B-T. Death is another discussion. There's a life of new jobs, jobs for our kids and for our grandchildren, a new life of economic growth for our country, if we use tried and true solutions, the right solutions, ones that have worked in the past. If we cut taxes, we cut wasteful stimulus spending and bailouts, and if we respect the Constitution. And the Constitution is not an abstract thing for me. If you'll let me tell you a personal story, it's very personal to me. My great-grandfather, Hugh Urquhart, came from Scotland. He was a farmer there, and he was driven off his land by the English landlords, the elite who were above the law. And they burnt his farm, drove him into the mountains to starve, and he faced a choice: crawl back on his hands and knees and be a serf the rest of his life, or come to America, this place he'd heard about that had a constitution that protected individual liberty, individual rights, and the opportunity to earn a living and keep what you made. He sold himself into a kind of 7-year slavery as an indentured servant to get here to America. My German great-grandfather, who was a German doctor, fled Germany for the same reason, to get away from religious persecution and to get to America and the protection of our Constitution. There's a big difference between my opponent and I. John is a nice guy, and I hope he believes the same. We've had some fun together in some parades. But I started with nothing. I've lived the American dream. We've created jobs. We've paid down debts. We know how to build the economy. I have personally paid down debt and have turned companies around. We have never depended on big government. But my opponent has always worked for government. And as my old boss, Ronald Reagan, said, government isn't the problem. Government is not the solution. Debt from government spending destroys jobs, and we can cut taxes as Kennedy did, as Reagan did, and create 9 million new jobs, and as Canada is doing right as we speak. Canadian debt has fallen from $1 trillion down to $950 billion, and they've cut their unemployment rate from 10 to 7.9%. The American dream is still alive, and we can do the same thing.